this is Vicky, also known as DragonflySoars with Tigger, also known as Tigger, and the Pest. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, and it's about 6:30. And the sun is still out because we're heading to the good part of the year. So, and the weather's been mostly decent. The title of this episode, You Can't Trust April. April is the weirdest month. It'll go from being warm to snow on the ground to decent again to huge thunder showers. We've pretty much had the whole range this month already. Tiff's birthday is coming up on Saturday, so if you see this before that, tell her happy birthday. And we have, speaking of April, we have pictures from her birthday through the years, and we have pictures where it was like 85 degrees and sunny, and we have pictures where there is snow on the ground. So I go back to, you can't trust April, but when you have beautiful days, you should try to get out and enjoy them, even if it's just a walk around the neighborhood or something like that, which best friend and I have been trying to do. So I have things to show you. And I also want to talk about the Cystic Fibrosis drive. Last week was the anniversary of Dad's passing, and while we are doing okay, I mean, really, we're good, but it was still a rough week, and I just did not feel up to recording last week. That meant, though, that I ended up only posting about the Cystic Fibrosis drive instead of saying it here, and our time is getting limited. I thought that the kids had waited too long to tell me this year about it, and then I realized that they actually told me the same time they told me last year. So but last year I had already kind of pulled everything together before Dad passed, and it just kind of went with. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. We will show, I've got some shawls that people sent, and I have things that people were donating for prizes for various things. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to show you is I actually have two big skeins. I did finish my mustard yellow spinning. Now, I think I told you a few times that I struggled with this fiber. It had a lot of pieces that were very felty. It was hard to draft. It is one of the few fibers where I actually pulled it into strips before spinning it because it was very difficult to draft. So it is a little more thick and thin than I would like. If you look right in this kind of subset here, you can see that there's some really thin pieces and some much thicker pieces. I have not soaked this yet. What are we doing? I have not soaked this yet, so I don't know how much it'll bloom. Right now, it's averaging about a worsted. And I have... I have two big skeins. I don't know which is which now, but one of them came out to just over 300 and one of them came out to about 350. And I have two little skeins that I don't know where they are. If I find them later, I'll show you. But the two little skeins were the bits when when a bobbin ran out, and then I was kind of piecing together the bobbins that had items still on them. So I figured the two little skeins will be used for swatches, and then I can take them with me when I try and find a yarn that will complement this. The yarn I had bought before was a brown, and the color's pretty close to the browns in here, but now that it's spun up, it doesn't look quite right. And it is a DK weight, and this came out to more of a worsted. So I'll have to figure out something else. So I'm thinking it might actually just be put aside for a little while until I can take a swatch with me to a fiber festival or Stitches or something like that. So, but it is done. It is off the wheel. I can spin something else that's not yellow now. So, I also I have been working on my knit swirl sweater. I'm doing the Plum Perfect sweater. And this has a lot of stitches around in the circle, so it takes a very long time, and I was not thinking about the fact that there's a lot of purling in this sweater. So all these welts, this is a purl welt, this is a stockinette, this is a purl welt, and I'll alternate, but the purl welts for me go slow. However, if I was ever going to gain speed on my purling, this is the project that will happen. But it doesn't look like I'm very far, even though I have actually worked on this a lot. There's probably several hours worth of work in this, but that's okay. I'm using the Universal Yarn Classic worsted, something like that. The one at Knitopia. And along with Universal Yarn Classic Shades, which is a slow color change yarn, and that is also, well, they're both Universal Yarn. So, and they have similar fiber content, but they are not similar structure. The solid is a standard 3-ply, and the other one is actually a single, but they knit up well together. Both worsted. When I did that, I found my two little skeins of yarn. Like I said, they're just little bips and bobs, but their gauge should be very close. And mostly what I want to know is close enough gauge, and also, like I said, to be able to knit up a swatch that I can take with me and look for a color that will go with. I need to... This may turn out to be a short sleeve sweater. I find a different kind of sweater pattern that might work. It is called, I don't remember what it was called. Anyway, it has a curved yoke and then short sleeves, and that might work, maybe. It's done all in one color, and I want to see if maybe I could do it in 2 colors, but we'll see. The other thing I did, I've worked on quite a bit actually, was these are the fruit stripe gum socks. So the yarn is from Knitter's Nightmare. It's the Batty base in the Perfect colorway. And I'm really kind of pleased by where my stripes ended up. There's a ribbing at the top. I believe the pattern is a 1x1, but I did a 2x2 before I decided what pattern I was going to work on. And then the diagonal pattern, and then you do a little bit of ribbing right around the heel, and then you do the heel flap. And so, but the part of my ribbing was black, and I did the heel flap, and then my heel, it turned out that my heel turn was totally black with just a thin stripe of black, but that built right into the end of the black from before I started doing the heel, and it ends up looking as if I didn't mess up the stripes hardly at all. So I'm really pleased with how it came out. The problem is that it's totally by accident, because I wasn't really thinking when I started, and like you can see, there's just a little touch of black at the top and then mostly purple. I might actually try to match them up now, just because of how pretty that ended up, and maybe the top of my top of my second sock will just be all purple, but just try and start the ribbing and the diagonals at the same spot so that it kind of lines up. And this kitten is being nothing but trouble. He's tangling all up in the yarn. And he's been mostly ignoring me, and then as soon as I started to record, he wants all the loveys. So let me post pictures of the sock. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to show you, which has kind of a little bit of a story. Somebody contacted me on Ravelry, and she couldn't finish the sweater she was working on because she ran short of yarn. And it was Miss Babs' Yowza in the cloak colorway, which happens to be what I used for my 30-day sweater a while back. And she was willing to pay for it. She said she needed about half a skein. I had, in my various balls, I had what totaled about a whole skein. And we were going to just transfer money, and then she said, well, I do have an Etsy shop if you would like to just do a trade. So I looked at her Etsy shop, which is Socks Chick at Etsy. And she has project bags. And I picked this project bag. And when I first looked at it, I thought it was pretty, but I thought it was weird that it was titled with it said Doctor Who on it. And I'm like, okay, it's pretty, but really? It took me a little bit to notice that there are little bitty TARDISes. So, this was the bag I picked. I thought about making it a prize for something and then decided that I really like it. So, I do buy a lot of prizes for the podcast. This isn't one of them. So, I also have to send a thank you out to somebody, and I did not ask to use her name, so I hope she doesn't mind. But Kim asked me for buttons for the podcast. Now, I normally try to carry buttons with me if I go to an event, but I don't normally hand them out a lot unless I'm like at a podcast or meetup or something like that, or if somebody comes up and introduces themselves, then I'll usually offer a button. Otherwise, I send them with prizes most of the time. Sometimes if I know you've gotten a button before because you've won something, I don't send another button. Or if I don't have the buttons with me and I'm trying to get stuff shipped out, sometimes you don't get a button. You almost always get a handwritten note from me, but you may not get a button. But she asked for one, and she offered to pay shipping, and I said she was the only person who's ever specifically asked me for a button. And I was like, that's fine. I'll just pay for it. And but she wanted to offer, so she used the donate button on the blog and donated money to the podcast to help pay for not just the shipping of her buttons, but which wasn't very much, but to also help cover the cost of prize shipments, which is greatly appreciated. I don't ask for donations, but the prizes, when the prizes ship out, they do end up being about $5 a shipment, more if it's international. So I wouldn't be volunteering to do prizes if I didn't feel like I could take care of that. But at the same time, it's very nice and very appreciated if somebody does. So I really appreciated it. Just like I really appreciate when I open boxes with shawls and find out that there are prizes inside for other people, for the podcast. So I am going to start showing you let me post a picture of this bag, and then I'll kind of pull my stuff together so I can show you some of the shawls. Now, obviously, there did not need to be prizes with the shawls. I was just saying it's always a fun surprise. Actually, my favorite part of the shawls has been some of the notes that are coming with. This one is from Angela, who is Beagle Mom Knitter, and they've just been very sweet. Mostly about Dad's passing and being the anniversary. So she had two beautiful red shawls. One is plain, and one has a lot of texture. They're gorgeous, and I'm going to post a picture here. Next we have two shawls, one knit and one crocheted from Liz Stitches, and it's very hard to open these up just because of our constraints here. But this one has a very nice edging around the outside. It's very pretty, very simple and elegant. And then this one is a nice rustic orange brown, crocheted in a 3-cluster shell stitch. So I'm gonna, and she also sent a lovely card. I really like the cards. I mean, they just are that, I like reading the notes. That's one of the reasons when I send prizes I attach notes. I'm going to post pictures of those here. And when Beth sent hers, she did send prizes. She sent one is a tape measure. I am not sure if it is a Bulldog or a Boston Terrier like Bob on Ravelry, but I'm going to go with Boston Terrier because it looks like a Bob. And this is a skein of Fibro-Nymph Dye Works in the Cozy base. It's 100% superwash merino worsted in spring water blue. So it is 220 yards of a worsted weight. Very nice. So thank you so much, Bets. Sorry, guys. Everything's tangling. Alright. The next one is from Nikki, who is Livin' Proficient. Now, hers is this really nice green and silver. Again, with just some texture added. So, I will post a picture here. You remember, Nikki also makes bags on the side. She doesn't have a shop, but she does like to make them. So she has donated some bags for us previously for different prices. And she sent along two more. This one has kind of a garden theme with kind of a gingham on the inside. And her bags are very nice. And this one's kind of quilted hearts with the same insides. So all these prizes, I have not decided what we're going to do with them yet. For the most part, there's one set that I already have, but and some people are remembering their strings. I think I've told you that I forgot to leave the string for the Donate Life Charm. I gotta say, Lynn is going to be so ecstatic when she sees all these. It's been so nice, and we're getting them from all over. And I know that there are some more coming because people have emailed and asked me for addresses. I have started giving a couple people my address because I'm not traveling for a while now. Let me, oh no, we did that. And the next three, yes, are from Grandma Kay, I believe. I'm pretty sure if they're from Grandma Kay. I will double check. This one is a very nice striped one. I mean, good man colors too. A bright green with a slight ruffle on the bottom. And a really, really pretty purple one with a lace edging on the bottom. It's a garter lace border. I'm going to put pictures here. Now, before I get to the next part with the cystic fibrosis, I do want to tell you that even though I would like your shawls posted by the end of April for the knit along for the comfort shawls, you can ship them to me in May. That is absolutely fine. I won't need them physically in my hand until the third Tuesday of May. I don't know what date that is right now. But just get them posted on the board for the prizes and then get them shipped. So you can work on them all the way up through the end of May. If you finish it May 31st, is that a date? February? No, May 30th or April 30th. That's perfectly fine. In fact, if you finish it in May, as long as you ship it to me, that's fine. But for the prizes, it'll be April 30th. And that's all of that. I do want to share some of my favorite projects that I have seen in the Inspiration Along. Now, the Inspiration Along had either the kind of St. Patty's clover picture with the girl, or we had the tulips in yellow and purple. So I haven't been able to individually talk to people about their projects, but I have been enjoying them. So I wanted to share pictures, and here we go. Right, so you saw a really colorful braided scarf or cowl from Victoria Blue, a cardigan from Catham, a couple things from Tiff, a really gorgeous purple shawl, and then a cute little baby sweater. And then Mom had her doll, which of course I will put, I'm going to put another picture at the end that shows more of the doll, including the fact that it has bloomers. But Mom's doll, and Sabrina had this, I don't know how to pronounce the shawl, but it was very cool and striped. I think it's called the Frangipani. I don't actually know if I have that right. And Well Woman had a purple striped one. El Mikal, I don't know if that's the correct way to pronounce it, had a purple shawl, a forest foliage shawl. And there's the picture of, and then Allison, sorry, I'm trying to look on here and remember what I'm thinking. Allison from Australia has a, I think it's a cowl, but it's rainbow colored. And mostly I'm just really proud of her because last year she really struggled to get any of the knit-alongs done. And this year she's had a couple projects, so she's doing good. And there was socks from Little Mermaid. So I love those. I'm so proud of you guys for keeping going, and I'm sorry I haven't been very active. I think once I get past this month, things will get better. I'm starting to feel better. Oh, also a couple people sent red and green squares, and not red and green, blue and green for the Donate Life, and very much appreciated. And anything that I get now, Lynn will still take because they'll use them next year. But the other day yesterday, we were coming back from dinner and we happened to go by a blood center of Wisconsin, not the one I normally go to, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, there's one of our trees. So we actually did a U-turn, so I made best friend take this picture. Anybody that didn't know, the squares were made and they have pictures of both donors and recipients for organ, tissue, bone marrow, things like that, and a little bit of information, real basic information. On my dad's it has Ken, age 63, donated tissue. He also donated bone marrow, but they missed that part, but that's okay. So, all right, last but not least, my son and his girlfriend once again asked me to help their friend's family raise money for cystic fibrosis. As you remember last year, this was really important to my son, and he normally doesn't ask me to do anything like this, but he thought that my podcast viewers could help. And then shortly after he asked me that, Dad passed away, and then he really wanted to help because he knew how much we were hurting with Dad passing, and he didn't want his friend to ever feel that way if her sister passed away. So they are raising money again, and so I have put together some prizes. If you donate money, all the information is on the blog, and on the show notes up at the top there are different pages. In fact, there's a techniques page, which is a really good resource, but there's also a page called Kaylina's Cure, and I have that information in the Ravelry thread and there. And when I was using Firefox, for whatever reason that link doesn't work very well for me. It kept bouncing. But when I used Internet Explorer, it was fine. I know other people have since donated, so that's great. So we have some prizes, and to anyone that donates any amount. Now, I can't see the amount, and I won't get a notification that you donated. So all I ask is that when you donate, you put a note in there saying from the DragonflySoars podcast, and also then email me, Plurk, Ravelry message, it doesn't matter. Somehow let me know that you donated so that I can enter you into a prize drawing. In addition, there is a special prize drawing for anyone that donates $25 or more. So, and I'm going to actually start with that, mainly because it's on top. So, Linda donated this beautiful wrap, and it is 100% acrylic. It's about 5 feet long and 14 inches wide. It's absolutely beautiful, and it was it says Deanna McCall. I actually found the website. I don't remember what it's called. The Wrap Store, maybe? Anyway, it is a beautiful, beautiful wrap. And I realize that we're now heading into spring, but in the winter, you're going to love this. So, this is for a 25 or more, and I have a picture of it for here. And that was donated for me to do as I thought best. So I decided that it would be a great prize for this. She also donated this skein of Fishnet's Warm Heart 2-ply sock. It's 100% superwash wool, and it says on here that it is a full gradient. So I am expecting that it actually goes through these colors. Maybe white to gray to black to red. I don't know. I would have to scan it up to see how the colors go. But it says it is a full gradient. So that was also from Linda, and I so appreciate it. She also donated a book. I believe it's called 30 Cozy Knits. I'm saving that for another time, partially because I want to look at it. And so, but these are going to be prizes for now. The remaining items come from my stash. So, we have Twisted Fiber Art in the Carousel colorway, which at one time was a club colorway, in the Tasty Base. And it, as far as I know, it is a self-striping. I actually bought it off somebody else once upon a time. But I thought the colors are just, I'm all about the vibrant spring colors right now. So I picked that one. Oh, here's the book. This is not a prize. Cozy Knits. Oh, 50, Fast and Easy. But this is not a prize yet, because I want to read it. This book, however, is a prize. This is Strictly Socks by Candace Eisner Strick, and it has different ways to do heels and toes, and then 16 sock patterns. So I am to the point where I pretty much do all my socks with, the one I'm doing right now, I'm using a pattern, but for the most part, on a lot of mine, I kind of have almost a recipe for how I do my socks. So I'm not using this one, but I thought it would make a good prize. I also have this. I got it at Knittin' in the Mitten. It's beautiful and sparkly, and I can't pick up the sparkles very well. But it is from Sheep Dreamery. It's Glitz base. And the colorway is Fruit Punch. Now, she is no longer dyeing. She got a job with Abby Frankemont. And so she sold the last of her inventory at Knittin' in the Mitten, which is where I got this. But again, I thought it was a really fun spring color. Now the next two items are fiber. Now, just like a couple years ago when we did the Susan G. Komen fundraiser, I am offering, the winner can either take the fiber, as is, and spin it themselves, or put it in their stash. This is Cloud Lover, Superwash BFL, 4 ounces. I bought it at YarnCon last year. You can either take the fiber or you can ask me to spin it. Just don't make any custom requests, because I'm a strong believer right now in fiber will spin up to be whatever it wants to, regardless of what I think about it. The other one, I also got it Knittin' in the Mitten. It is a CJ Coho. It is hand-dyed blue face Leicester, 4 ounces. The colorway is Liberty and Justice, and it is just beautiful colors. So I will post the remaining prize pictures here. The part I forgot to say, which is important, is all donations must be received by May 15th. And then I will pull for the prizes the very next time I record. So if you donate any amount let me know to be entered for a prize. And also, if you donate above 25, let me know that so you can be entered for the absolutely beautiful wrap. I have no way of knowing what you donated, so it's on the honor system. But I will really appreciate it. I am posting it on social media as well, which is why some people saw it last week. And I'm not going to bombard people with it, but I will periodically, say, hey, would you like to win this? Donate now. But anyway, I think that's everything. I will post pictures. Like I said, I wanted to post a picture of Mom's. It's a picture of Mom's doll, and I normally don't show you guys the underparts. But this one I thought was interesting because she has full set of bloomers underneath that dress, and nobody will ever see it except for here. So I will talk to you guys all next time. Bye now.